In this crochet tutorial, I'll show you step by step how to crochet this bear. I'm kind of new to this as well, so I promise I'll teach you just like how I teach myself. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you don't know me, I'm Cherilyn, and I usually make videos on crochet wearables, but today I'm going to show you how to crochet this bear. This is actually my very first amigurumi design, and I'm really happy about how it turned out. I really enjoyed designing this pattern as well, so hopefully in the future I can come up with more patterns to share with you. Alright, first of all, let's talk materials. Of course, you need your yarn. This is the one I'm using. This is an 8-ply yarn, and that's weight 3. This color is latte, but you can use any brownish color you want to make the bear. I guess you could use a different weight yarn, as in you can use yarns that are thicker or thinner, but the size of your bear is going to be different accordingly. It calls for a 4mm crochet hook. It says needle size, but I use a 4mm crochet hook anyways. It is small enough to create stitches that look like this. So as you can see, it's tight enough for you to not see the stuffing inside. So that's how I know a 4mm crochet hook is okay for this. You'll also need a little bit of black and white yarn to make the eyes and the nose. And then you'll also need stitch markers. If you don't have stitch markers like this, you can also use hairpins or scrap yarns. These are just to mark your stitches. And of course, you need scissors to cut your yarn. And needles. You don't need this many, but this is what I got. So preferably, you'd want something like this. I actually just got this a couple of days ago. I had been using needles like this, but I was making clothes and stuff. I didn't really need something like this, but now we're making amigurumi. That's why I bought needles like this. So it bends at the tip here. So when you sew up the pieces together, it's easier for you to, you know, get your stitches because of the angle here. But if you don't have needles like this would work as well. And after that, you'll need, well, I guess you don't really need these, but I think these help. So you use this to pin your parts together as you're attaching the other parts together. Honestly, I haven't used these, but you can definitely attach your parts successfully without these. So if you don't have these, that's okay. And of course, how can I forget this? You need stuffing. So this is the one I get. I just pretty much looked up cotton stuffing for toys or amigurumis online. I got this one from Amazon. Alright, so I have these here. That's the head, that's the body, and got one ear and one arm. So obviously I haven't attached everything together, so I'm gonna kind of have to wing it when I attach them together. But yeah, I'll show you how to make the parts first. And by the way, I'm just using a different color to practice. The finished bear is gonna be this color. And let's do the ears first. Alright, so we're going to begin with the magic ring, and trust me, it's very easy. So the way I make it is that you hold your yarn like this. Like that. You just need a little tension here. So you hold it like this and grab this yarn. Make a circle by twisting it like that. And you hold this part with your 2 fingers like that. And then insert your hook in the circle, grab this yarn, and pull it through the circle. And then yarn over, pull it through the loop on your hook. And that is a magic circle done. So for this pattern, I'm mainly going to be using single crochets. And when you make a single crochet, usually you would insert your hook and you yarn over like that. Yarn over meaning the yarn is over your hook, and then you pull yarn up. And then you yarn over, pull through 2 to make a single crochet. That is how you make a single crochet when you're making clothes and other things, I guess. But when you're making amigurumi, I recently just learned this. If you yarn under, the stitch is gonna be tighter and it looks neater as well, in my opinion. So to yarn under, you still insert your hook. So you would insert your hook in this magic ring. So instead of yarn over like that, you yarn under, meaning your yarn is under your hook. And then you grab this yarn, pull it through the big circle, 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over. This time it's a yarn over, pull through 2. So that's the first stitch. I'm going to mark it. And in this circle, I'm gonna make 6 single crochets in total. Let's make the second one. So you insert your hook, yarn under, pull yarn up, and then yarn over, pull through 2. That's the second one. Insert your hook, yarn under, pull through 2. So the only change is the first, yarn over, yarn under, and then you do it normally, yarn over, pull through 2. So for the whole pattern, I will always do this yarn under when you grab the yarn the first time. So that's the last single crochet. Did I do that? Yeah, last single crochet. Done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you can pull this yarn tight to close the loop. So that's round 1. Round 2, we're going to work 2 single crochets in every stitch. So in the first stitch, you're going to work 2 single crochets in it. So you take out the stitch marker and then insert your hook, in the 2 loops here, and then you yarn under, pull yarn up, then yarn over, pull through 2. So I'm gonna mark it. So that's the first stitch of round 2. And then in the same stitch, you're gonna insert your hook again, yarn under, pull yarn up, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 2 single crochets in 1 stitch in the first stitch. And then you're gonna continue doing that. So you're gonna work 2 single crochets for every stitch. The next stitch is this one. So insert your hook there, yarn under, pull yarn up, yarn over, pull through 2, and then again in the same stitch, insert your hook, yarn under, pull yarn up, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 4 stitches. I'm going to continue doing that. Next stitch, work 2 single crochets in it. Next stitch, 2 single crochets again. 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then last stitch here, 2 single crochets in that stitch as well. So that is 12 stitches because we worked 2 stitches in every stitch, and round 1 we had 6 stitches, round 2 12 stitches. Starting from the first one that is marked 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So that's round 2 12 stitches. Round 3, take out the stitch marker. We're going to start with a single crochet first, and then mark this first stitch. So this is the first stitch of round 3. Start with 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch you're going to insert a hook, make 2 single crochets. So that's the first stitch, and then insert back in the same stitch here, and then make another single crochet. That's an increase because we worked 2 stitches in 1 stitch. So that's 1 2, and for this pattern you're going to repeat that. So again, the next stitch, work 1 single crochet, and then the stitch after that, 2 single crochets, and then keep repeating that. Next stitch, 1 single crochet, next stitch, 2 single crochets, so continue that pattern, 1 single crochet, then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 single crochet again in the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So 1 2 1 2, and repeat like that. In the very last stitch, you should work 2 stitches in it, because that's 1 stitch, and then the next stitch you work 2 stitches in there. So it looks like that. For this round you should have 18 stitches because of the pattern that we worked in. So starting from the marked stitch, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, so 18 stitches like that. And then take out your stitch marker. From the next round we're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch. So that's the first single crochet. So 1 single crochet in each stitch, and you're going to do this for 4 rounds. So this is the first round. When you finish this, that's the first round. You're going to do that again, second round, 3 4, like that. And as you're working, you want to make sure your work is not bending this way, because that's the right side and that's the wrong side. So that's the inside of the bear. You're gonna do that, flip it this way, and then continue working. Work 4 rounds of single crochets. I'll see you back here. Alright, so that is, I'm finishing round 4 actually. Round 4 of those single crochet rounds. So that's the last stitch there. You can count your rows, I guess. So if you see that circle, don't count from this because you can clearly see it's becoming round 2. You want to count when it looks like this, when it's pretty clear. So that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. You should have 7 rounds because we have 3 rounds of increase and then 4 rounds of just single crochets. And then now you want to put this little tail in there. And then we're going to seam these two edges together, and then it will turn into a little ear like that. So that's the last stitch. I'm gonna sew the first stitch and the stitch before the last stitch together. So I'll insert my hook like that in the first stitch, and the last stitch is that one. I'm gonna insert my hook in that stitch, and then I guess this part, it doesn't really matter. Well, you can yarn under or yarn over. I'm just gonna yarn over, and then make a slip stitch by pulling the first loop through the second one like that. So that's one slip stitch, and then I'll continue from the next stitch like that, and then on this side as well, make a slip stitch, and pull yarn up, and then pull it through the one on the hook. So I'm going to continue doing this and seam this edge together. So if you do this, you will have one stitch left. Eventually, I'm gonna do this one more time. So that's that stitch and that one. I actually have one stitch in between those, but that's okay. We're gonna leave that stitch. So after you finish that, you're going to yarn over and fasten off. You're gonna leave a long tail because you're gonna use this to sew the ears onto the head. I'll just leave about this much. If you're not sure, you'd always want to leave longer than shorter. So you cut the yarn and pull this through, and that's an ear. So you do that twice to have two ears like that. So next we're going to do the arms. So this is one of the arms, and actually the beginning of the arms is the same as the ears. So for the second ear, you might need to rewind the video. For the beginning of the arms, you'll need to rewind the video as well. So you'd start with a magic loop, and then you'd make 6 single crochets for round 1. For round 2, you make 2 single crochets in every stitch, so you have 12 single crochets for round 2. And then for round 3, you do 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, following that pattern, increasing every other stitch. So for round 3, you'd have 18 stitches, and then after those 3 rounds, increasing rounds at the beginning, you do 4 rounds of single crochets. And those 4 rounds, you just work 1 single crochet in each stitch, no increase. And then you'd end up with something like this. So I'm coming back to the beginning of the round. That's the last stitch. So just like the ears before, I have 7 rows here, 7 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're going to continue working this up and turn it into a little arm like this. So as you can see, shape-wise, it gets narrower here, and then it continues. And that is because I did some decrease here. So the next round, after 7 rounds, after 4 rounds of single crochets, remember we have 3 rounds of increase and then 4 rounds of single crochets. So after 4 rounds of single crochets, the very next round is round 8, and that round is a decrease round. So for that round, I'm going to begin with 4 single crochets here. So that's the first stitch. Second stitch, 3, 4. So after 4 single crochets, over the next 2 stitches, I'm going to make a decrease. So when you normally make a decrease, you might want to do a single crochet 2 together. But I also learned in Amigurumi, you don't really make this because it creates holes like that. So what you do here is that you pick up the front loop of the next stitch, then directly pick up the front loop of the next stitch, like that, and you yarn under, pull it through 2 loops here, and then you can yarn over, pull through 2. So that's a decrease. And then after that, I'm going to continue this pattern. So from the next stitch, which is this one, I'm going to start making single crochets again. So I'll make 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then decrease again. So pick up the front loop of the next stitch, and then front loop of the next stitch as well. Yarn under, pull yarn through 2. Yarn over, pull yarn through 2. So I've done a single crochet 4 and then a decrease twice. Now we're going to do it a 3rd time. So from the next stitch, work 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now you should have 2 stitches left. If you don't have 2 stitches left, then you might have done something wrong before. So 2 stitches left, you're going to do a decrease again. So insert in the front loops of the next 2 stitches. Yarn under, pull through 2. And then yarn over, pull through 2. Alright, so that is one decrease round. And then the next round is a normal single crochet round. So you're just gonna work 1 single crochet in every stitch for this round. So 1 single crochet in every stitch. I'll see you at the end of the round. Right, so last stitch of this round. And the next round is round 9. And round 9 is a decrease round again. So I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the first 3 stitches. So that's 3 single crochets. And after 3 single crochets, we're going to do a decrease again, just like this round. We're going to pick up the front loops of the next 2 stitches, and then yarn under, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2. So 3 single crochets, then decrease. And you're going to continue repeating this pattern. So for this round, again, you're going to do the pattern 3 times. So 3 single crochets again. I'm going to do the decrease a second time and then do it a third time. 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 stitches left. Do a decrease. So that's round 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And after that, I'm gonna do 8 rounds of single crochets. So 1 single crochet in each stitch, and you're gonna do that for 8 rounds. I'll see you when I finish those 8 rounds. Okay, so here I've done another 8 rounds. Now it looks like this. So if I count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 rounds. Now we're gonna sew it up like this, but before we do that, we need to put some stuffing in it. And before I stuff the stuffing in there, I tend to separate them. You just put this in there. If you have a hook like this, I guess it would be easier. You can just do this. I have another one here. I'm gonna make sure I have the same amount of stuffing in both arms. Okay, I think that's okay. Now, just like how we sew up the ears like this, we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to join the first stitch with the stitch before the last stitch. So that one and the first stitch that is marked. And then you're going to make slip stitches like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then yarn over and fasten off. So that's 2 ears and 2 arms done. Next, we're going to make the head. So the beginning of the head again is the same as the ears. So you're going to make a magic ring, and you start with 6 single crochets as round 1. And then round 2, you're going to make 2 single crochets in every stitch. So 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets, 2, 2, 2, 2. And then that gives you 12 stitches for round 2. And round 3, you do 1 single crochet increase. So single crochet increase, single crochet increase, single crochet increase. Following that pattern, for round 3 again, you'd have 18 stitches. So I'll see you after those 3 rounds, including this one. This is round 1. So after 3 rounds, it looks like this. 1, 2, 3. After 3 increase rounds, we're still going to keep increasing until this thing is as big as this one pretty much. So we're going to continue increasing. So this is round 4 we're going to do now. Round 4, we're going to start with an increase. So in the first stitch, you're going to insert your hook and make 2 single crochets in it. That's the first one. You're going to mark this stitch and then make a second single crochet in the same stitch. So increase and then 1 single crochet in the next stitch, then 1 single crochet again in the next stitch. So that is the pattern for round 4. Increase, then 2 single crochets. And now we repeat that. Next stitch, increase, that's 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. And then 2 single crochets. So 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch. And you repeat that again, 2 single crochets in the next stitch as an increase, and 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch. So I'm going to continue with that pattern and I'll see you at the end of this round. So I finished that is round 4. The reason why this round I started with the increase is because I want to shift the increase spot from the same spot of the last round. I don't want to stack them in one spot, otherwise the circle would not be so round. It would not be, the edge would not be so smooth. So which means I'll shift that increase spot every round as well. The next round is round 5. So for round 5, we'll start with 3 single crochets, starting from the first stitch. So after 3 single crochets, you're going to make it an increase, and that is the pattern for round 5. So as you may have noticed, the increase is near the end of the pattern. So that's 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then in the next stitch, I'm going to make an increase, so 2 single crochets in that stitch. So 3 single crochets and then increase. And then you continue this round with a pattern from the next stitch. You work 3 single crochets, 1 in each stitch. 1, 2, 3. In the next stitch, you work 2 single crochets in it as an increase. So you continue with this pattern, finish this round. I'll see you back here. So near the end, it should be 3 single crochets, and then you have 1 last stitch left, and in that last stitch you should work 2 single crochets in it like that, and that is round 5. And then we're going to continue round 6. We're going to start with 1 single crochet and then an increase. So next stitch, work 2 single crochets in the next stitch. That's the first one, and then in the same stitch, a second single crochet. So 1 single crochet, increase, and then we do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then you repeat with this pattern. So you start with 1 single crochet again, and then next stitch increase, so that's 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And then you do 3 single crochets again. 1, 2, 3. So 1 single crochet, increase 3 single crochets. 1 single crochet, increase 3 single crochets. So in between every increase, you actually have 4 single crochets. If you don't count like 1 single crochet, increase 3 single crochet, 1 single crochet, increase 3 single crochets. If you don't count like that, you can just count 4 single crochets in between every increase. So that's 1 increase. I have 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna make another single crochet. So I have 4 single crochets in a row. In a row like that, and then you do an increase, which is 2 single crochets in 1 stitch, and then you do 4 single crochets from the next stitch, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, you can just follow the pattern I was telling you at the beginning. So for this round, you start with 1 single crochet, and then an increase, and then 3 single crochets, and then you repeat that pattern just by itself. So after that increase, you should have 3 single crochets at the end of the round. So I'm gonna finish this round and see you back here. All right, so that is round, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For round 7, we're going to begin with 5 single crochets. Starting from the first stitch, you do 5 single crochets, and then you do an increase in the next stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochets, and then in the next stitch do an increase. And that's the pattern you should repeat for round 7. So repeat that pattern to the end of the round. I'll see you there. And of course, you'll do 5 single crochets, and then you should end up with 1 stitch left, and in that stitch you should do an increase. That's round 7. Round 8, we're still going to increase. So we'll start with 2 single crochets. Mark the first stitch. So 2 single crochets, 1 in each stitch, and then an increase. So 2 single crochets in 1 stitch, which is the 3rd stitch. So 2 single crochets, increase, and then 4 single crochets from the next stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that is the pattern for this round. So continue working like that. I'll see you at the end of this round. All right, so that is round 8. You should end with 2 single crochets, increase, and then 4 single crochets. So that's 8 rounds of increase. From the next round, I'm gonna start making plain single crochet rounds. So that means just 1 single crochet in each stitch. So in the first stitch, I'm gonna make a single crochet. Now, this time I'm gonna place the stitch marker not in the top 2 loops actually, but in the 2 vertical loops of that stitch, so that when I come back, I don't need to take out this stitch marker. I can just continue working in rounds like that, and that stitch is the first stitch of the plain single crochet round part. Yeah, so basically we would have 3 sections. The first section is this circle like this, and then the second section would be plain single crochet rounds like these. And then the third section would be the decrease section. So that stitch is the first stitch of the second section. So yeah, I can just continue working 1 single crochet in each stitch. And for the plain single crochet rounds, we need to work 9 rounds. So I'll work like this round and round. I'll see you after 9 rounds of single crochet. So I'm back. So remember that is the first stitch of the first round of the second section. So that's around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's the first stitch of round 9. So I stopped right before this stitch. And now we're going to start working decrease to bring this circumference smaller. So the pattern for the decrease is actually quite simple. I'm just doing these rounds backwards, and whenever there's an increase happening, I'll do a decrease here. So the last round of increase was actually 2 single crochets, increase, and then 4 single crochets. So for this very first round of decrease, I'll do 2 single crochets, a decrease, and then 4 single crochets. So starting from this very first stitch, I'll do 2 single crochets. That's the second one. And then I'll do a decrease here. So pick up the front loops of the next 2 stitches. And then yarn under, pull through 2. And then yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 2 single crochets, a decrease, and then I'll work 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the pattern we need to continue doing, which means I'll start from here again. So that's 2 single crochets, decrease over the next 2 stitches, and then 4 single crochets again. So continue repeating this pattern and finish this round. Okay, so I'm working the last stitch here. The 2 single crochets, decrease, and then 4 single crochets. This is the first row of decrease. The next row, we're going to do 5 single crochets, then a decrease. So 5 single crochets, and then decrease over the next 2 stitches, like that. So that is the pattern for this round. And you're going to continue repeating this pattern to the end of the round. The next round, round 3 of decrease, we're going to start with a single crochet. And then decrease. And then do 3 single crochets. And then you're going to continue repeating this pattern for this round. 1 single crochet, decrease, 3 single crochets. So the next round of decrease, You're gonna start with 3 single crochets. And then a decrease. So 3 single crochets, then a decrease. Continue repeating this pattern to the end of the round. The next round, I'll start with a single crochet, then a decrease, and then a single crochet again. So single crochet, decrease, single crochet. That is the pattern for this round. So continue working like this. When I finish this round, I should end up with 18 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and then after the last stitch, you can fasten off. So chain 1, cut your yarn, and then pull it through. So I already cut my yarn and I have extra length. That is because I accidentally did one more round before, but this is how you should end the head correctly. And now we're gonna make the body. So you know how so far we've been starting everything with 6 single crochets as the first round. For the body, we're gonna start with 8 single crochets as the first round. We're gonna start from the feet here. We're gonna make 2 of these and then connect them together and work our way up like that. So you make a magic ring, and instead of working 6 single crochets, you're gonna work 8 single crochets in this circle. Again, I'm gonna mark the first stitch, so work 8 single crochets in total. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8. So after 8 single crochets, you're going to pull this yarn tight to close the loop. And then even though we're starting with a different stitch number, the beginning of the pattern is the same. So row 2. Row 2, we're gonna do 2 single crochets in each stitch. So starting from the first stitch, you'll work 2 single crochets in each and every stitch. And don't forget to mark your first stitch. So for row 1, actually round 1, I've been saying rows, but I mean rounds. So for round 1, we have 8 stitches. And because round 2, we're going to work 2 stitches in every stitch, we're going to increase the stitch number to 16 stitches. So you should have 16 stitches for round 2. That's the last stitch. 2 single crochets in it. So for this round, I should have 16 stitches, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's round 2. Round 3, the pattern is the same like I said before. So the pattern for round 3 is 1 single crochet starting from the very first stitch, mark this stitch, and then do an increase. So that's 2 stitches in 1 stitch. And that is the pattern. Single crochet, increase, and then you repeat single crochet, increase again. So I'll see you after I finish this round. That's a single crochet and then increase in the very last stitch. And this is round 3. You should have a total of 24 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, 24. Okay, so that's 3 rounds of increase. After that, you're gonna do 4 rounds of single crochet. So that's just 1 single crochet in every stitch, and do 4 rounds of single crochets. So when you finish the last stitch of round 7, you should have 7 rounds, right? Because you have 3 increase rounds and then 4 plain single crochet rounds. So after 7 rounds, fasten off. For this one, you actually don't have to leave that long. Well, okay, my OBS crashed, so what was I saying? So after the last stitch, you'll just fasten off. You don't need to leave a very long tail. And then you need to make another one exactly like this. So you have 2 legs. Alright, I finished the second leg. After this last stitch of round 7, I'm going to join the 2 legs together, but I don't want to join them directly like that. I want them to have a little space. So between these 2 legs, I'm gonna have a chain 1 in between. So make sure you have your stitch markers ready. I think we'll need 5 or 6, and you'll see why. So from the second leg, don't fasten off. You're gonna chain 1, and then you're gonna mark the chain 1. I'm gonna use this blue stitch marker. Place it just in the top 2 loops of this chain 1 here. Like that. I'm also gonna mark the last stitch of this round here. So green is the first stitch, orange is the last stitch, and blue is the chain 1. And after the chain 1, we're going to grab the other leg, slip stitch into the last stitch here. So you just insert your hook in the last stitch, top 2 loops, and you grab the yarn from behind like that. And we're gonna slip stitch them together, and since it's a slip stitch, it doesn't matter if I yarn over or under, so I'll just yarn over, pull it up, and then pull the first loop through the second one like that. And now I'm gonna mark the last stitch. So the slip stitch, it's sitting in the last stitch, but I'm still gonna mark the last stitch like that. I guess you can do this before you slip stitch, but let's continue. So after that slip stitch, I have my first stitch of the round marked here. I'm gonna single crochet into that stitch. Still yarn under and single crochet. Mark this first stitch. So that stitch is actually the first stitch of the whole round. Now that we've connected 2 legs, we're gonna work like this. So that is 1 round. That's another round. And this first single crochet is the first stitch of the whole round. Actually, I will use a different color to mark it. I'll use this pink stitch marker. So if you don't have different colors, I guess you can tell that is the middle, that is the chain one there, and you can tell which is the first stitch, which is the last stitch. The only different stitch marker you need is this one, really. So you're gonna think of some thing to make it different, I guess. Anyways, we're gonna continue working single crochets, 1 single crochet in each stitch. And I'll see you when I finish this round and get to the last stitch here. So I'm near the end. For this leg, we should still have 24 stitches, and you can see that is the last stitch because it's marked. So I'm gonna work my last stitch in there. So work a single crochet and then mark this last stitch again. And now we get to this bridge here, this chain one. In this chain one, I'm gonna work a single crochet. So actually in this chain one, I'll work 1 single crochet on this side, 1 single crochet on this side. So that's 1 chain, but you need to work 2 single crochets, actually 1 single crochet on each side. So for this chain one, I placed my stitch marker in the top 2 loops. So I have 1 back bump here. I'm gonna insert in this back bump and make a single crochet. So that's 1 single crochet. And then I can continue from the next stitch, actually the first stitch of this leg. And as you can see, the first stitch is marked. So I'll just continue working from here, insert in the first stitch, and then make that single crochet, mark the single crochet, and then 1 single crochet in each stitch for this leg. So near the end, we're close to the orange stitch marker. You need to make sure you have 24 stitches for this leg as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 1, 2, 3. So I do need to work in the last stitch here. I'll still mark this last stitch. After some rounds, we won't need to do this, but for now, I'll still do that. So the next stitch is the chain one. As you can see, it is marked by this blue stitch marker. So in the top 2 loops, you're gonna insert your hook and then make a single crochet in there. I'm gonna mark this single crochet. So that is 1 round finished. We started from the pink stitch marker, went around 1 single crochet in the chain one, went around again, and then did another single crochet on this side of the chain one. So that is round 1. After we connected 2 legs, we're gonna start round 2. And as you can see, the first stitch is marked. So that is where you begin this round. Work a single crochet and then mark this first stitch again. 24 single crochets. So to this orange stitch marker, and then this is the chain one here. We should have 1 stitch between these 2 stitch markers. So work 1 single crochet here, and then single crochet from the next stitch marker. "24 stitches again." Right, so to the last stitch marker here, I think from this round I can stop marking all these stitches, but so I just need one stitch marker for one stitch, which marks the beginning of the round. So the next stitch is the chain one. I'm gonna single crochet in it. So that's 2 rounds after we connected the legs. And if you count from the beginning, we should have 9 rounds in total. I'm going to continue working round and round like that until I have 15 rounds starting from the beginning, starting from the bottom here. 15 rounds. So this is the 3rd round per stitch. And then 24 single crochets. Then you have the last stitch of this leg, a chain 1 in between, and the first stitch of the other leg. So I can actually take these stitch markers off. So I'm just going to continue working like this, 1 single crochet in every stitch, round and round like that, until I have 15 rounds in total, counting from the very first round. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll see you back here. So I didn't realize I wasn't recording the audio for this part. So basically I worked 8 rounds of single crochets, and that gives me 15 rounds in total. So you should have 15 rounds if you count from this side or the other. And then after that, I started doing decrease. And for this whole decrease part, I'm gonna do 1 round decrease and then 1 round single crochet. So pretty much I just decrease every other round. So this very next round is a decrease round. And the pattern is you single crochet the first 8 stitches, so 8 single crochets, and then followed by a decrease. And then you repeat that. So 8 single crochets again and then decrease. So that is round 16. For round 17, as I was saying before, you follow a decrease round by a plain single crochet round. So for round 17, you just work 1 single crochet in each and every stitch. And round 18 is a decrease round again. For round 18, you work 7 single crochets first, so 1 single crochet in the first 7 stitches, and then you do a decrease. And that's the pattern for this round. 7 single crochets and then a decrease. And again, you follow that by another single crochet round. So that is round 19. Round 19 is a normal single crochet round. So this is round 19. I just finished. We're going to continue decreasing like that. So next round, round 20, you're going to do 6 single crochets and then decrease. That is the pattern for round 20. And round 21 is a single crochet round, no decrease. Round 22, you're going to do 5 single crochets, then decrease as the pattern for that round. And then round 23 is a single crochet round again. Round 24, you do 4 single crochets and then decrease. And then round 25, you do a single crochet round. So that is the pattern for the next 6 rounds from round 20 to round 25. So I'll see you after I finish those rounds. So this is round 25. I just finished a single crochet round after a decrease round. So round 26 is another decrease round. And for this round, you do 3 single crochets, then a decrease. But after this round, you will not do a plain single crochet round. So 3 single crochets, then decrease. Follow this pattern and finish round 26, and then round 27 will decrease again. Okay, so the pattern for round 27 is you do 8 single crochets first, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then a decrease. And then you do that a second time to finish this round. You should be able to do 8 single crochets, and then over the last 2 stitches, do a decrease. And for this round 27, you should end up with 18 stitches. So I'm going to do one last single crochet round. We don't need to decrease anymore because we reached our desired stitch number, which is 18. The only reason we're doing this round is to attach the arms together. So each arm has 5 stitches on top. So the beginning of the round doesn't matter anymore, so I'm just gonna take this stitch marker out. So I'm gonna count 5 stitches on each side. I think those 5 are pretty good. I'm gonna place a stitch marker in the middle stitch. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'll leave 4 stitches at the front, 4 stitches at the back. Does it leave me 5 stitches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the center stitch on this side is actually the stitch before this last stitch here. So I should place my stitch marker here in the second last stitch. So this is what you do. You continue with these stitches. You're going to stop at 2 stitches before the stitch marker. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 stitches, 5 single crochets first. I have 2 stitches before the stitch marker. You're gonna grab your arm. Well, I guess you can see one side looks better than the other side. I'm gonna sew it like that. This side being the outside of the arm, like that. So we'll use slip stitch to join these together. 5 stitches here, find the first stitch. And then the stitches here, the next stitch on the body. Insert in 2 loops. And then slip stitch. So yarn over like that and slip stitch. That's the first one. Continue with the next stitch. And the next stitch of the body. Second slip stitch. Next stitch. And the marked stitch, which is the middle stitch of the 5 stitches on the body, So that's 3. Continue doing this. 4. And 5. Slip stitch. Then I'm gonna chain 1, make it tight, and then continue with the next stitch on the body. So in the next stitch, work a single crochet, next stitch single crochet again, single crochet, and then 1 more single crochet. So 4 single crochets, and then you have 2 stitches before the marked stitch, and then you're going to attach the other arm in the same way. And then when you finish the last stitch, chain 1 and cut this yarn to fasten off. This tail is kind of short, but that's okay because I have enough length from the head. So that's the body done. Now I'm gonna put stuffing in the body and in the head. So I guess you can make it squishy by putting less stuffing in it, or make it really firm by putting more. But there is one thing I want to make sure is that I have enough stuffing around the neck, because I don't want the neck to move like that. If you don't have enough stuffing, it's gonna do that. So I'm gonna put more right before I join the body and the head. And also when you stuff the head, make sure you put enough stuffing just around here, so this part wouldn't go too flat. See, that's flat and that's not. Right, so as you can see, this is pretty full. A little bit more on the side, under the arms. Now I'm going to sew these together. You're gonna grab your needle and put the thread from the head in this hole. And since the head and the body both have 18 stitches, I'm gonna sew them together stitch to stitch. So I'm gonna assign this side as the back, and this is the back of the head. I'm gonna start from here. So what you do here is you go into the first stitch of the round, which is this one. So try your best not to get any of the stuffing. And then you'll find a stitch close to the center of the back. I'm trying to allow you to see and also sew it together at the same time. So I just pick that stitch. And then pull through. Go into the next stitch. And the next stitch on the body as well. And pull through. So I can't really hold them and show you at the same time, but hopefully you understand the concept. And when you go through the stitches that are attached to the arm, You want to go through the arm stitches as well. I feel like this is the part that takes me the longest, especially towards the end of the round, but I really want the seaming to look nice and neat, so I encourage you to take your time as well. And as I'm closing this, I'm putting more stuffing in the neck just to make sure it's firm. Okay, last stitch and then we're done. So I'm just going to tie a knot here. Pull it tight. And then I'll hide it in the body. And then cut this yarn. Now I have some yarn tails here, but they're already fastened off, so I'll just use the same method and hide them in the body. Alright, I finished the body. I'm super happy about it. Honestly, I did not expect it to look so good, if I can say so myself. So for the ears, you can use these pins. You just bend them like this and try to find a good spot for the ears. So this is actually totally up to you where you want to put your ears. I feel like if you put it too high, it's gonna look like a cat. Yeah. So I think you'd rather want it to be far apart than too high up like that. So I think somewhere there looks good. So I'm gonna make sure this and this point are in the same line here, so like that. So let me just pin it and I'll show you. Oh, by the way, you want this side to be on the inside. You don't want it to be showing at the back of the ear. You want to make sure the line between these two is parallel to the arms and the legs, if that makes sense. You don't want it to be twisted like that. So I feel like this one can go down a bit more. I'm on the, if you count the rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This point is between the 5th and the 6th row. And this one is between row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, between row 12 and row 13. So this, they're all in the same line like this. So I'm pretty happy with the position where the ears are. I'm gonna sew one on first. So I'm gonna use this yarn to sew the ear onto the head. So this yarn comes from the ear, so I'm gonna go into the head first. So I inserted between row 5 and 6 and grab some loops, come out of there, and then go directly into the 2 stitches of the ears like that. And then I'm gonna check if it is where I want it to be. It's looking okay, so I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna hold it with my hand like that. I'll go into the head again and then pick up the Next 2 stitches on the ear. It looks good, so I'm going to continue doing this. So that's one ear at the front. I'm gonna go around and continue sewing the back of the ear. I think it's necessary, otherwise it will do this. But I'll be using the same motion, just go through a stitch on the head and then through the stitches here at the back. And then after I finish one ear, I'm gonna go ahead and make another ear. And for this ear, I'll need to start from this side. And as you're sewing, you need to check after every stitch. So you do one stitch, you check if they're symmetrical, do another one, check again. If it doesn't look good, you'll need to undo that stitch. So I finished the 2 ears. You're gonna fasten off just like before. And now all we need to do left is the eyes and the nose. So I roughly marked where I want the eyes and the nose to be. There are actually 8 stitches between the 2 eyes, and they're sitting kind of in the middle of the ball. The eyes are going to be about 2 rows tall. So after you get your black yarn on the needle, we start from a random point and just go 1 row below the pin point. I'm going to leave enough length for the eyes. And then I'm going to take this out. Go 2 rows above. And then go back down here. You're going to continue doing this a few more times. You kind of want to spread your yarns like that. You don't want them to stack. So you want to make the eyes kind of round. I'm going to do this one last time and then I'll go back to the same spot. So I think that's okay. Now you're gonna cut this yarn. How you fasten these off is you tie double knots and then hide this behind the stitches, but I'm gonna leave it for now because I want to do the other eyes and make sure they are symmetrical before I fasten off. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eyes first. It kind of looks okay, so I'm gonna fasten off. So I did a nose like this, but I don't really like it. So I'm gonna add a muzzle here. So basically that is just a little circle made with a white yarn. And it looks like this. This is the exact same pattern as the ears, excluding the last 4 rounds of single crochet. So it's the first 3 rounds of the ear pattern. So you do that and then you slip stitch in the very first stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, and pull yarn through. And then you chain 1. Now you can leave a long tail because we're going to use this yarn to sew the muzzle on the bear. So get your needle ready. I'm gonna go through the next stitch again, so you just go through the top 2 loops like that from behind. And then go back in the stitch before somewhere. And that's a little circle done. Now I'm gonna sew on the nose first before I sew the whole thing on the face. So basically what I'm gonna do here is to make 3 lines first with my black yarn and then fill it up with the black color. And this nose, I want it to be not at the center but like at the very top here. Alright, and then after that, I'm going to make 1 straight line like that. I can tie these 2 black yarns at the back and then cut them. So I'm going to leave these yarns at the back because they can push this nose up a bit. And then I'm going to use this yarn to sew it on the face. So this is what I'm going to do. Basically, I'm going to go in 1 stitch and then into the head, come out from the head, and then go in the next stitch from the back. And then again in the next stitch from the front like that. So I'm going to place them pretty close to the eyes because it looks cuter that way. So go into the head and then come out from the head and then come out through a white stitch. Actually, I forgot I can pin them. I'm just going to do this. So I finished sewing this. Now I'm gonna fasten off. I'm just gonna tie a knot. I tied it with the stitch so it's not too obvious. And then I'll go through the head and then cut my yarn. I also made a scarf for it just to add some colors. So this scarf is just 2 rows of single crochets. I made my scarf kind of long because I want to use this scarf to attach it to my mic. So I actually chained 160, but you don't have to chain this much. I think maybe 100 chains should be okay. So chain about 100 and row 1 single crochet in every stitch, row 2 single crochet in the back loop of every stitch as well. And then you got a scarf like this. Alright, that's our bear done. I really enjoyed designing my very first amigurumi pattern. I can't wait to create more patterns and share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video though. I hope your project works out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.